What's going on, What family? Welcome back to the What Hustle channel where we ride, we hustle, we repeat. Today I got an exciting guest. As you guys know, I like to bring on people that are quote unquote expert in a specific field, and I like to add value to this channel. And today's guest is an expert in a specific style of bike. Without further ado, let me introduce you to Phil, aka E-Bike Dad. Phil, welcome to the show. Tell us who you are and what you're about.
How's it going, Fernando? Thank you. This is surreal for me to be on a podcast. Like a couple years ago, basically, I moved from the country to the city, and I couldn't ride my dirt bike no more. Well, you can, but like the odds of you getting in trouble riding a 450 down the main highway over here, I'm probably gonna get stopped pretty soon. So I was like, I got to trade it in, and e-bikes had kind of fallen into my lap, and I decided, I was like, well, I have a specific set of skills for video and talking about things. I'm not afraid to take things apart, and I noticed that there's a lot of still e-bikes that there's things that people don't know. There's people are afraid to take parts off and all this stuff, and I said I could do that. And so I kind of started my channel with that intent of helping other people with the specific bike that I had, and just it kind of just grew around there, because I can't lie to say that I'm not influenced by other people. I watch a lot of the big guys, and so I get a lot of takes from them. Doing my e-bike lunch, and doing going to mega ride and stuff, which is like a huge deal to go be part of that and to travel to that. And the channel just kind of exploded in a way that I didn't think. I thought it was really a hobby to get me from motorsports, to get from dirt bikes to something that was acceptable in the city, that would still be fun, that eventually I brought my family into.
Nice, nice. Yeah, here's what's interesting, right? Your channel is not just about e-bikes, right? It's really about the experience of that bike. So, how would you describe your channel in your own words?
Oh man, like I think it's kind of it is more of like an e-bike lifestyle kind of thing. Even though I'd say I probably video 10% of what I do, which I'm sure it's the case with a lot of creators. Is just the fact that you know a lot of people want to see the crazy stuff. Show me the crazy stuff. My recent video, we got stopped by the police, and like that's a crazy factor where they're like, oh, what's going on, or what's the new bike, so but yeah, it's been a surreal ride. I don't know. Like it's evolved. I mean, like, it's it's fair to put words on it, but it's been from a kind of like hobby, just small thing, to an actual way to make a little side cash and go on some cool adventures.
Yeah, so let's talk about that, right? So, first of all, let's talk about how long have you had your channel?
I think, man, uh, July 15th, 2024, I believe. I think my first video might have been, I know it was in July of 2024. So that's about when the channel started.
And then what was that first, oh, at what point, after you launched that first video, at what point did you realize, man, I may have something here?
Well, it's we got to go back just a little bit, but like um like there was some strategy to the beginning. So
Okay.
I had a bike that was a company had reached out to me because I do like independent marketing, and so a company reached out to me with an e-bike, and which I think you've reviewed that bike. It was the Move Cam V30,
Oh yeah.
and
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So I was like, man, this is what I got. I got to make do with what I got. And so I made a couple of videos riding around town, some of my first videos, just cruising. And I noticed like I need a little bit more. I need a little bit more battery power. I need to get away from the stoplights, all that stuff. So I started searching for a bike, and I came across, which wasn't out, or it wasn't out yet. It was like a pre-order, which was the Frigo X2 original. And I said, okay, this bike looks like it has some potential. It's got the speeds. I wanted pedals. It's got everything I could maybe just go to the next level with my channel. So I went ahead and bought that bike, on a whim, just like, okay, let's do it. And it ended up being a great deal. And, there was nothing on it. There was no how to deal with the brakes. There was no like just in depth about tire size, what kind of controller it had on it. And so I was one of the first people to really pioneer that bike, go through it, show people how to change tires and stuff. And, so it really started from that other bike, but technically from, the Frigo was really the bike that pushed the channel the most.
Yeah, and let's go back and about that specific bike.
Mhm.
Why that bike? Like, what was it about that bike out of all the other bikes in the market that you said, okay, this one is the one that I think has potential?
Yeah. Cause I mean, like, obviously I could have bought a Stark, like it would have been, like, which we'll get to later about like what riders should choose and stuff. But like,
Right.
I could have bought a Stark, and just went full, guns blazing. But part of me was like, I don't know anything about this industry. No one is gonna accept me. Just this guy just got a Stark, and I know that through other sports I've done and stuff. Like, and you need to learn the bases. Well, I have the bases from motorsports. I used to race in the woods, and which is like cross country racing, where you're out there flying through the woods, going 30 miles an hour with trees on each side of the handlebars about to take you out. Like it's so I have a rider base. And in high school, I did some like technically freestyle riding. But so I have a base for riding, but I didn't know the bikes. I didn't know the systems. And I said, okay, I need a bike that I can break down that no one else has done. I need it. So that makes it unique. Another thing is like, who's a company that is out there that might need some help that I could maybe bring some value to. And like I wasn't looking for free bikes. I wasn't looking for any of that. I just was like, maybe I can send them some value and become an affiliate or something. But I found a couple bikes, and I was just like, all right, it's in the air. Who's gonna help me out? But again, it wasn't so much like that was a driving factor. It's just like, oh, it would be cool, like it'd be a cool story. Hey, look, I bought this bike and nobody knows nothing about it. I just went 10 levels deep. And as it progressed, people started tagging me in their videos and started like finally the company ended up commenting on their video that somebody commented and then eventually emailed me. But like I didn't know, to a degree, I did kind of point myself in that direction of this bike could be something, but I kind of easily went with like the Coswheel has similar
Yeah.
bike,
Yep.
EKX, and there was another one. But like, as this industry kind of grows, there's a lot of companies that really want to fight to be something. And I picked a company that luckily ended up, starting with, well, they had some other bikes, commuter bikes, but starting with the X2, ended up all these bikes behind me came after. I don't know if that was in their plans or whatnot, but I just happened to hop on a company that, was growing. But also something I want to make clear is like, I'm not sponsored by this company, which a lot of people don't understand the difference between sponsorships and brand deals. And so I do brand deals with companies, which says I owe you X, Y, and Z. After X, Y, and Z, we're done. I can say what I want. I can do what I want. All my contracts at the end say, once this is fulfilled, then I can use, abuse, sell, give away the product that you've given me, and
Right.
that way ties are done. So it just so happens a lot of companies, this company in particular, but I have reviewed private videos for other companies as far as like installation videos and stuff. I think now I'm on like 30 bikes that I've helped other companies with.
I'm glad you brought that up because one of the things that I learned when I got into this niche of e-bikes is that there's so many creators out there that don't understand, the difference between a sponsorship deal or a brand
Mm-hmm.
deal or an affiliate program. And I was shocked to find out that many, even popular people, I won't mention any names, but even popular people don't get paid. Like
Mhm.
they don't ask for paid sponsorship. They
Yep.
just
Yep.
don't ask. They're just happy to receive the bike. Uh, and that surprised me a lot when I got into this niche, because I've been doing a lot of interviews. I've been talking to a lot of people. Just because I'm brand new, to this niche. I have another channel, which is this one right here, Dream
Mhm.
Vacation, and it's my primary business. Um, and we have a digital marketing company. But so I made the mistake to assume that other creators already understood the business side of YouTube and the business side of being a reviewer. And boy, was I wrong. So,
Yeah, and
so I,
it's people don't realize, like, because technically, not to give too much information, but like I have like multiple channels that I do other stuff on, and people don't realize how easy it is to just video yourself. There's people that don't talk in their videos. There's AI now that'll voice over. There's people that don't show their face, but they talk and they video what they do, and like they people make money off of that, and like at the very least, you should be doing the AdSense from YouTube, which
yeah,
can do anything from pay your phone bill, which is a big deal, to paying your light bill.
right.
So like that's a big deal that people don't take advantage of. And I think to the degree they think they're less genuine or less true to what they're doing if they're taking a certain amount of money or something, like, oh, I'll take a free bike, but I don't want to take no money because I'm gonna feel like a sellout. But you know, like there is a balance, and some people do it for the love and all, but like yes, there is an aspect of it'd be nice to make a little money to help offset these $1,000 trips to Austin, and even the weekend trip. Like if you staying at like in New Orleans, I'm staying at somebody's house, I'm bumming on their couch just to go ride. I'm still have some costs associated with that, and it's great to have something paying you a little bit.
Yeah, 100%. And even and I don't want to dive too much into the weeds here, but there's
Yeah.
so many ways to monetize a channel. It's
Mhm.
not just AdSense. It's not just affiliate. I mean, there's tons of ways to monetize your channel. I was talking to a creator, and I think at the time I only had like 500 subscribers. No, I think I had, yeah, about 500. And he was shocked that my channel was already making money through affiliates and through sales, because we can attach stores to our channel. So, but he was surprised, and that's when I started asking. When he told me he was surprised about that, because he asked me, I was shocked that he didn't know or didn't do a lot of the stuff that I do. And then, so that was one of the questions I asked a lot of people. How do you monetize? Are you doing this full time? Are you doing this part time? It's just crazy. But let me go back to the X2, right? Because
Mhm.
that one of the things that I wanted to touch on, because I think I know the answer, even though you haven't said it. Um, and I want to home in exactly on what attracted you to the bike itself,
Mhm.
because number one, I like your reasoning behind it, because you're 100% right, and I think you hit a home run.
Yeah.
This bike, not you were the first, at least from my research, you were the first to put the bike on the map, which is a phenomenal thing to do
Mhm.
when you're trying to break into a new industry, right? You know,
Yeah.
you have guys like Scott Hardesty. You have the guy from Tell Happy TV, who get brand new bikes that are not on the market already sent to them because they're established. But when you're not established, you got to figure out how to put something new so it piques people interest and you can actually grow your channel.
Yeah.
So I give you kudos for that. But I'm going to go back to the question: was it the aesthetics of this bike, which is was it the amp hours, was it the power? What drew you specifically to the bike, besides it being something that very few people knew about?
Yeah, it was a little bit of like power and looks. Like the main thing that I wanted was I wanted a bike that would go 45 miles an hour at least,
Yeah.
because I feel like a lot of the bikes under that looked like somebody's grandma's bike or something, and I wanted the look. And all the bikes, I from having the move can, I knew that from a dead stop, whether you need it or not, for safety reasons, I need to get away from the stop sign. I need to
Yeah.
get away from the red light. And so the slower bikes are a hazard. And so they have their place, but like I wanted something that would get away from the stop sign with a good pace or red light. And so it needed to be, pretty quick. Now, I really did want a mid drive motor, but the appeal of like the stealth of the hub motor, and just like the look of that bike. Because if I'd have went with Talaria or Sauron, again, I feel like there's no growth. There's no growth that could happen from that,
Right.
because
Right.
they're not helping anybody out. Even the top guy, which I don't know if we're saying names on here, but the top guy, he said himself they've never helped him.
Right.
So uh, I wanted a company that I had possibly growth with. I wanted a bike that had a speed that was over 45, and I want something that looked pretty cool. Um, I'm technically, I live more on the outlaw side. Like I know what to look at and all this stuff. And so I didn't really want it to look like a bike, but I kind of wanted it to look like a bike. So having pedals was a must have. And
And
like,
you come from a dirt bike background, right?
mhm. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So I have the rider base of
Right.
riding 450s and 125, 250s. And so like, I'm used to that aspect, and I like that, but I know that there's a stealth aspect into fast e-bikes that you kind of want, so that you don't turn heads. That's one of the reasons, like, I don't really put fender, like these have fenders on them, but I normally take the fenders off when I ride, because if my head turns and I first glance, what's your thought real quick when you see a bike and I see
Yeah.
that front fender, it's a dirt bike.
Dirt
And
bike.
so
Yeah.
and that's what the cops is looking for too. And so with the second I see it, I'm getting more than a glance. So in my head, I was like, is there something that has that kind of stealth factor, that has the speed, that has some growth? And I think this bike really hit all of them. And also, we talked about affiliate stuff from promoting products previously. I wanted something that would be on Amazon. Like Amazon was a big deal too. That was a big factor, because I wanted to be able to promote like associate links or whatever to
Right.
that product. Which, if you look in all my videos, I have affiliate links in every video to all the products I use.
Right.
Um, I don't I don't think there's a product on there that I don't use. Like anything that's in my videos is something that, and again, like I'm saying all this, but technically, I always refer to myself like I'm a nobody. In my videos, you hear me say like I'm nobody. Nobody's listening to me, um, but I'm gonna say it anyway. And like another reason I did mention this. Another reason that I started this channel was because of some family stuff we won't get into. I wanted, if something ever happened to me, I wanted my kids to still be able to have a good time with me. And
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't
With
want to
a,
change direction too much, but like, and that's why you never hear me curse in my videos. Um,
yeah.
it's, I want my kids, when they get older, whether it's their grandkids or them, and they're like, I miss my dad, I want them to be able to go and watch this. And
Oh
so
man, what I mean, what that is
I didn't want
awesome.
to go there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I
No.
don't
No.
want to
But
take it down, but that's,
but man, I am glad you went there. I'm glad you
yeah,
went there because that is a not only is that a motivating factor, but it's something that, like you just said, man, your kids, your grandkids, and even their kids will have the opportunity to get to know you, you know,
yeah,
years down the road because this stuff is permanent, right?
yeah.
You know, for good or bad, right?
Oh
For
yeah,
good
I
or
was about to
bad.
say, like, if there's some stuff I don't, I teeter on the edge of the law in some of my stuff. So, and the people I ride with for sure will bounce back and forth.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I feel like that's part of it. you know, like if you videoed everybody's life, they teeter back and forth. There's things they do, things they don't talk about. And so I just happen to have a few of them on tape.
Yeah.
Some I've deleted tapes. Like, I don't know if you've seen my New Orleans video, but a lot of that didn't make the edit because I didn't want to get in trouble. And I only highlighted some of the crazy things they did.
Right.
And I was like, and you know, I bleep out their face just because I know some of them want the fame. They're like, don't bleep out my face. I'm like, dude, I don't want to get that phone call and then I don't want to be in trouble, you know, so I'll do that. But like, I think there's a good balance, you know, but I do like showing that to them. Like my kids love watching my videos and seeing where I go. Family members, you know, they're like, you're crazy. And, you know, I'm doing stuff 20-year-olds, you know, doing. So, uh,
Do me a quick favor because we're talking about the bikes, and I need my audience to
mhm,
know which bikes we're talking about. Can you go?
yeah.
You have four bikes there. Can you go through the bikes?
Hmm. Yeah. Technically I have, another five that aren't on camera, but I can't show those. Um, so the first one is the X2 Pro. So that was my first like promo bike or brand deal bike with the company. And then this is the X3. This one just came out. A lot of questions. A lot of people probably gonna have some questions about this bike. You know, I answer what I can, and if I can't, I'll take it apart and find the answer. Then this is the Nova 5. This is their kind of top line bike, which now they have the Nova 5 Pro, which has a 15 kilowatt motor on it. So they went from 8 kilowatts to 15, which I didn't get selected for that, but I'm interested in testing that bike. And then this is the X Zero, which is behind me right here. So this is the X Zero, which is my favorite bike I've ever ridden. This is, if I had to pick one bike, and I've ridden commuter bikes, travel bikes. I have a 43-mile-an-hour scooter right here, which is insane, but that's my favorite bike to get on. Now, I've talked with the company, and I can't give away too much, but I've had talks about the fact that this is the perfect bike if you could make it adaptable like the Razor community. Imagine this has 3,600 watts. It goes 43 miles an hour. I've hit top speed. Imagine it with better suspension, and imagine it with like a 6,000 kilowatt motor. Like that's something
Well,
somebody want to see.
now you got me geeking it out because
Oh yeah.
I love this. Number one, I love the fact that you said that the small bike, the mini bike, is your favorite bike because those that watch my channel know that, for example, the Mini Goat is my all time favorite bike.
Oh man, I'd
Uh,
love to ride that bike. That's
oh, it's
it's your
that is
favorite.
my all time favorite bike. And right now I have the Mini Magician Alpha that is phenomenal.
Mhm.
I'm getting the Viper, the wired Viper, which is a
Oh
mini as
yeah.
well. And then the R6, which is a mini. I got a deal with Tanneray on their bikes, and they just created a mini T16 bike that I got
Hmm.
that's going to be on my channel soon. But let's go back and let's start with the X2 and tell me what
Mhm.
just what's the wattage and the amp hours on it, and just go down the line. Sorry for this brief interruption, but if you are enjoying this interview, do me a big favor and hit the like button. Comment below, tell me where you're watching from, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And lastly, do me a big favor and watch this short video from our sponsor.
Feel like I'm 10 feet tall. My turn, pass me the ball. Don't trip, no, I don't fall. That's right, I want it all. I keep on moving to the beat of my own drum. My squad be killing it, you know we get it done. Yeah, you know we got that. Yeah, you know we got that power. Yeah, you know we got that. Yeah, you know we got that power. I got the power. I got the power. We can do anything.
Now he's flying.
Hey, flying is awesome. You guys gotta try this. So the X2 Pro and the X2 are pretty much the same bike. It's just they updated. I think they realized the aluminum frame on the original just wasn't cutting it, and I think they wanted to adjust the tune a little bit because the original, when you would take off, had kind of a rattle. But they're all far driver controllers except the Nova, but it's a far driver controller, 30 amp hours and 6,000 watt peak, but it's a 3,000 watt hub motor, 6,000
Okay.
watt peak. And these are all like a cartridge style battery, which I agree with and I don't. I know a lot of people have let me just say it like this. So it slides in from the top and it's on a rail. Well, the discharge and charge ports are on the bottom. So the bottom plate on the bike has these little spikes sticking up and the battery slides onto them. Well, when you have your connector like that exposed, if water gets in there, and they have had a couple people that, and I don't know what they did. Okay, so they might have went through a river. I don't know, but they've fried a battery from having water in there to the
Yeah.
point where it scared me actually at one time, and I was like, man. So I got dielectric grease and I ran it like a bead around the plate, and then I put the battery on it so the water couldn't penetrate that dielectric grease, and I'd still have my connection. But yeah, that's that one, and then the X3 is a 50 amp hour battery pack
Wow.
on 8,000 watt hub motor. Now,
Wow.
yeah, it's a lot. I've never seen that big a battery, and the community was asking for it. I sent emails to the company about building. I always give them notes. Every bike they send me, I give them notes, which they tend to not like because I'll tear the bike apart and be like this,
Right.
and they're not going to change the whole line for one guy,
Right.
but I do think a lot of my suggestions would make the bikes way better. But one of the suggestions in the earlier models was more battery, and we didn't care. The whole community, I started this whole community that followed me around this bike, and it was unanimous. We didn't care what it looked like. We wanted a second battery pack. And if you notice, they're flush. It goes in flush with the frame. We wanted a battery pack that would like stick out. It doesn't matter how it looked. We just wanted more time on the
Bigger.
bike.
Yeah.
Right. And so but they ended up with the 40 amp hour battery pack, which was okay, but I still think they needed more. So like I still would like to see that, even though it's a monster pack. So many people have that bike that they'd want that 50 amp hours. Now you get in an issue with this bike, the X3. My biggest complaint is there's going to be a point when the battery is so big that it weighs so much, it
Too much.
starts you with your suspension and your power, you start losing power. So like with that bike, even though it's 8,000 watts, it does struggle in some areas. And like of
Like
course,
give me an example, because so I'm associated with Anioki. Anioki is known for the biggest batteries on the market, right? And they're heavy bikes. So, but they're not so heavy that it hampers the performance of the bike. Like for example, they just, I have, and I'm right now, I think we already did some shorts on it, but the actual review will come out next week. I got the 72 volt, 70 amp hour Anioki A8.
mhm,
So, but there's really not much difference in terms of the weight. It's not that great between, let's say, the 52 volt 70 amp hour Anioki A8 to the 72 volt, which I was very surprised that the weight difference wasn't that big. But so in this case, from the X2 to the X3, is the weight difference that much different?
yeah, oh yeah. Um, I believe this one weighed in at like 120 something,
Well, that's heavy.
and this one, so the X3 weighs in at 167, I think it was
Okay, so
65 or 67.
167 for the X3 weighs as much as the Anioki A8, 60 volt and 72 volt, then, because the 60 volt weighs, I think, 165, and the 72 volt weighs 168.
Mhm.
So
And
literally about the
it
same.
could be that motor on the back is the thing
Yeah.
too.
Oh, you
It's
got to include that. That's right. Your
right.
motor's much bigger.
You have to talk
Yeah,
about the size of the motor.
yeah.
And I'm not a tuner. Like, I've only been in this sport for like, 2 years under that. And really, so I will say there was another bike that I think it was on my channel. The company warranted the motor, but sent me the motor. They didn't send me the tire, nothing. And like, I was like, oh. So
Yeah.
I had to do, I don't know anybody that's done that. I had to physically pull the motor apart, put the new gearing in, and I was like, oh, this is either going to blow up. And it worked. I lucked out.
Yeah.
But
I've
yeah,
had to do that. I've had to do that.
that's
And
a scary thing the first
yeah,
time.
yeah, when you take out and the I had to do that, and I won't say the company, but I I didn't even to take out the actual motor itself.
Mhm.
You need a special tool, and
Yeah.
that special tool. Obviously, I didn't know, and so they had to give it to me. They had to send it to
Hmm.
me, and when I pulled it out, I'm like, wow.
Yeah. And you got to have a special wrench for the cassette to pull that
Right?
off
Yeah,
of the pedal. Yep.
yeah, yeah.
And yeah, it was something. But like with this motor, like it doesn't seem much bigger than the 6,000 or the 3,000 watt motor on the X2. But I'm not going to open it up. Like that's not gonna, I'm not doing that. But as far as like tuning and stuff, I've reached out to some of the guys in the community, and it's really hard to, um, let me just say this and I'll come back. But like I don't know the internals, but it could be tuned a little better. But I still think that this type of motor is being pushed pretty hard as is. But when it goes to tuning, I would just want to say real quick that like you'd be surprised at how many people do not respond. And I want to say it's because of the fame at a certain subscriber level. Um, like I'm in everybody's comments. Like usually like people I follow, and like if I'm going to a different state, I will hone in on those riders and start trying to chat to have some base of where I'm
Right.
going. Of like, all right, who's in Houston that I know that I'll see them have a friendly face. They know me a little bit. And you'd be very surprised at who does not respond. And I
I'm not
will
surprised, brother. Yes,
oh,
I,
yeah, you do know.
I'm
Yeah.
not.
And
I'm.
like,
I'm not surprised at
God.
all, man. I email if you're in this industry and I haven't emailed you, it's because I haven't found you on YouTube yet. I've emailed
Yeah.
everyone, and I get
Hmm.
no response.
Oh
Uh,
yeah. I
so
screenshot my page too, so that they
yeah,
can see like I have the subs and stuff, just to be like I'm not a weirdo asking for a free bike. I don't want a free
right.
bike. I just have a question. And so that being said, like I've reached out to some people that tune bikes, and no response. I don't know if it's a liability thing or whatever. There was one guy on Facebook that's pretty helpful that I'm starting to have a conversation with, just to know the far driver system a little bit better, for some simple things. I just need it. Like they don't make it easy. You get in there.
I'm going to send you an email when we get done. If I forget, remind me. Have you been in contact with JB360?
No, no, but I follow his channel.
All right,
I watch his stuff.
the guy's phenomenal, and
Yeah.
just send him an email. He will respond. And you have any questions on far drivers or any
Mhm.
builds, he'll answer it. Same thing with
Cool.
Tommy Bike Guy over in Central Florida.
Oh yeah, I
Uh,
got his number. That's a cool guy.
yeah. I've visited him. I've interviewed him. We've done some stuff together. But those are two go-to guys that are very
Mhm.
familiar with car drivers. You have any questions? Just reach out to them. They'll be more than happy to help out. And again, don't let me forget to send
Awesome.
you JB's email, and so you can
Yeah.
reach out to him. So finish the other. So you got two more bikes to go through.
Yeah, so the Nova 5, that's a 40 amp hour. It's basically a serpent, the Throne Serpent clone. Like it's very similar. I wouldn't be surprised if they weren't made in the same factory, but it has an 8 kilowatt peak, and yeah, 40 amp hour, and it's a custom controller. So their controller is made in house. It's not a company. It's not a mass produced controller. So this one I'm about to do a couple videos on, because some people are having issues, some dealers, and I don't know, like customer service. I don't know if I should be releasing that, but they were like, look, you know the most. There's no language barrier. If you could help out, so I'm gonna make a video on some issues I've had and how I've adjusted. Um, then the X0, it's 3600 watts, 3600 watt peak. I think it's a 2000 watt hub motor, and then it is a 25 amp hour battery pack, which like a little bit more power and like 40 amp hours on this bike would be insane. Like it's a super fun bike. Now,
Hold on
you
one second,
know,
'cause I want to look it up because
mhm.
I am, since you're saying that that is your favorite bike, I'm gonna get
Yeah,
it. So what is
there you go.
the
So the Frigo X0.
here you go,
Mhm.
X0 e-bike.
Yep, this was their mini bike answer, their hub motor mini bike answer to their line that was missing. But they also just came out with the Nova 5 Mini, which was, I guess, a gap in the market because, oh, not a gap in the market, which is in their lineup they had a gap because you have the Yasma and all those bikes. They all look the same, right? We all know what they look like, and you could put them next to each other and you're like, oh, those are the same class. And that's kind of what the Nova 5 Mini was. But the X0, like, I don't know if there's, I didn't research that much, but I don't know if there's any other bike that's a hub motor that's this style, you know, that um, is like a mini bike. And this thing is super quiet. This is also my wife's favorite bike too. She she's ridden a bunch of the other ones. I've changed the suspension on the Pro, on the X2 Pro,
Yeah.
and made it shorter for her because that's the one she liked to ride. And she was like, "Nope, this is my bike. This is the one I'm riding." So we kind of fight for who's riding that one.
I'm trying to find. Do you have a link for that so I can give you credit?
The X0.
Yeah.
I have to email it to you. I'm having a with their affiliate thing. You have to have like a new email. I don't have it set up on this bike yet.
All right. So I'm going to hold off. I want to give you
Yeah.
credit because I'm buying this bike and it'll
Okay.
go well. So I have a property in Georgia and it'll go perfect for my property in Georgia.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean,
but
it might the e-bike dad might work if you just put in e-bike dad.
let me try it. Let me try that.
Try it and see if it gives you a discount on the checkout.
Yeah, because I want to make sure you get credit when I buy this thing. Let me add this.
Yeah. But yeah, that's yeah, it's my new favorite. Her new favorite. Now, um, again, you know, like this, it really needs a stiffer rear shock for an adult. Like, you know, for I weigh 180 pounds, and when I really ride it rough, I've bottomed, well, not bottomed out, but I have that license plate on there
Yeah.
as a that license plate's kind of, I showed it in my last video, is like a tribute to one of my favorite creators in Chicago, Brian 636. He's a
Yeah.
stunt bike. Yeah, yeah, you know Brian. So that's like my tribute to him. And you know, I hit a good bump and it'll rub on that plate, but it's plastic, so it's not a big deal.
It's a,
Yeah,
it's a it looks like a really phenomenal bike, and the price is really very reasonable.
yeah. Now,
So,
like there are some other, like my big thing is like if you want to compare, a lot of people would just compare price range, you know, and some people would just compare size. And the thing is, like, I feel like this bike is really unique. So yes, you could, uh, you know, put it next to a few of the other bikes, but they're all mid-drive motors. So, you know, you'll feel it when you get on the bike. Like it's a, your center, like where your pull is from is different. So I had somebody explain it, like, you know, hub motors, because of the where the drive is, like the pull, you know, on your body, the force is just different than the mid drive. And of course, it's quiet. Everybody says e-bikes are quiet, but a hub motor and a mid drive motor, you hear a mid drive motor screaming, you know, and
yeah,
like,
we're not all not even all hub motors are quiet either. I mean, a direct drive motor is the quietest motor. Like for example, the wired bikes, the wired Scout, the wired Warrior. I
yeah,
mean, that's like that thing hums so damn loud. It is crazy how loud that bike is. And then you compare that to the Magician Alpha or any of the Aniokis, especially the new 72-volt Anioki. They just tweaked it a little bit, made the direct drive motor even, which I didn't know was possible, made it even quieter.
quieter.
It's insanely smooth and quiet. You don't hear anything but the tires. You know.
I'm gonna have to look into that because so my next kind of evolution is getting stealth bikes. So I'm looking into the Bunnell for me because I don't know if you want to get into kind of the police aspect, but I'm just going to touch
Oh,
on it.
yeah.
It's
Go,
like
before you go into that, let's talk about, guys, and just so you know, we talked offline. If you haven't seen his latest video, I recommend you check it out. And if you haven't subscribed to him, make sure you subscribe. Channel's phenomenal. But let's talk about your latest incident. So brief us real quick on what happened.
yeah. So I was invited to a ride out, and it's some local kids that know me, and I was like, this is an opportunity to meet people that watch my channel. How's that gonna go? Most of these kids do stunts that are beyond my ability, so I was like, whatever, let's go check it out. I should have known with the details of the ride out and something previously happened that I wasn't supposed to go. A buddy of mine called with an emergency and I went help him. Well, we ended up finishing up what he had to get done. And I was like, I'm going to make the ride out. And I should have known all these factors it's not a good scene, but I did it anyway. But, I was amped up. I was like, all right, we're going to meet some people that, have seen my stuff and I follow some of their little Instagram channels, but we're gonna meet up and we'll ride. It'll be just a fun time. Well, immediately when I got there, they started at McDonald's, which is on the main road in this super rich neighborhood in Youngsville. And so it's on a main road on a Saturday, like lunchtime, the heaviest traffic. And I'm like, oh, this is a recipe for something. Because where I started was in the neighborhood. So I didn't know like traffic was really that bad until I got to where they were. And I was like, oh man. And there was a cop talking to them when I got there. And I was like, well, they're sitting talking. The cop's not out of their vehicle. So maybe they're just warning them to stay off the main road. And so we took off. We didn't even get to the next main road. We're at the stop sign, which granted, we are in the parking lot. So no cops caught us on the road. No cops caught us doing stunts. None of that. Cop pulls in front of us, blocks us off. And first, like, it's very kind of threatening presence, that he projected towards us and was like, get off the bikes. And I was being very calm. I was like, yes, sir. And I turned my bike off. He tried taking my keys like a street bike. And I was like, I felt kind of cool because you see that in the cop videos, the street bikes, they grab the key from them. So I was prepped. So I was like, I hurry up, put it in my pocket. And I was like, look, let me just move it in the grass. Let me get everybody out of the pathway for cars. And he wasn't having it. He was super mad. When the sergeant got there, he was a little bit more respectful, but they were kind of throwing around the law. And, like, you could take two stances in the e-bike world. You're on a ride with people. If you're on illegal bikes, you know what's going to happen if you get caught. And the cops are either going to take two stances. One cop is going to be a rookie and he's going to be upset and he's going to try to tell you what to do like he's your dad. The other cop is going to be respectful. He's going to read the situation. Like if I pulled up on a group of kids, none of them are wearing full face helmets. It's just me. So they're wearing the half shells. You can tell these are kids. And okay, they all stopped. So they're respectful children. I don't need to come in guns blazing. I mean, he grabbed his gun when he was talking to me. And I was like, do I pull this card? We're like, bro, you gonna pull your gun on me? Like, I could have did all that, but I didn't. I was like, let me just be respectful. And it goes a long way. Ended up, I kind of mediated the situation because they were talking to the kids and I could tell it wasn't falling through. And I ended up negotiating everybody, be like, listen, everybody get your whoever to pick the bikes up. Doesn't matter who picks them up, but a parent or guardian has to come pick you up. And then I ended up leaving because my buddy actually picked up my bike for me while all this is going on. So it was an experience to happen in your town, close to where I ride. It was kind of sad. And it was kind of eye opening for,
Let
how
me
I
ask you this
ride.
question. What the basis for stopping you guys was what?
No basis. And that's where I was like, I'm just going to let them talk and they're going to dig themselves a hole because I got it all on camera. So
Right.
at one point, the sergeant said that if you leave your house, everything is trespassing. Everything. The second you leave property that does not belong to you. Now, that's a wide interpretation of the law, and I don't like
Listen,
that.
yeah,
That's
that's first of all, what he said is not true at
mm.
all.
Oh,
Uh,
I know, but I didn't want to challenge it, because
right.
I could have left in handcuffs and made a point, and then, or I could have just took it easy and,
But
you know,
let me go back because if there was no basis for the stop, but let's hypothetically, what is the law? What in Louisiana? What's the e-bike law? Do you guys have any?
the law is so there's basically branching two things together. One is your e-bike laws of what's classified as an e-bike. To call it an e-bike, it needs to go under 28 miles per hour. So there's a bunch of like subcategories, pedals, all this stuff, but under 28. So if it hits over 28, it's not an e-bike. But also, those cops they're not specialists in electronics.
I
They
was just
can't
going to
tell
say that.
me, right?
Yeah,
They're not they're not a specialist. So they cannot make that call. If it's written on the bike, different story. But
right.
they can't make that call.
But
Now,
even it's so I mean, there's one thing that I always tell people, and number one is you did the right thing, right? And I'll give you some history of me. I'm retired law enforcement, so
okay.
I
You know
tell
it.
people the following all the time. Number one is do exactly what you said, what you did. Yes, sir, no problem. And let them say what they have to say. Be polite. And then if you need to take actions, but action, you do so later, right? Because there
Right.
are remedies, especially today's day
Yeah.
and age. Every cop, I looked at your video, they had body cams. So you can
My
always,
thing, like if they would have said at any point, we're writing you a ticket, or we are impounding this bike, that's when I would have said something. But
right.
like
Right. They didn't go that. They didn't go there.
it didn't go that far.
Right, but you did the right thing, which was good. The other thing I would say is what you just said. Majority of e-bike laws are non-enforceable because in order to determine, even if it's the bike states this is a 45 mile an hour bike, or because I've seen this before too, even if the cop goes on the internet and pulls up your bike and it says that the bike is 45 miles an hour,
I've seen that.
I mean, there's two things that he can do, right? He can still write you that citation because all a cop needs is probable cause. That's it. All he needs
Yeah.
is probable cause. But anytime, if you ever get cited or bike gets impounded, I would 1000% take that to court and you will win because in order to test the wattage of a bike, you need to have a dyno. Most, if not all, police departments don't have a dyno. They're not taking that
No.
bike and put it on a
That's
machine and
That's
be
in
certified.
Britain.
Right.
You're in Britain getting dynoed on your e-bike.
Yeah. So, but I say that not for people to go out there and start flexing to a cop. Don't do that because you're gonna lose.
Right. Yeah.
But just to know, just be okay. If the cop gives you a ticket, take the ticket, but just know that you're gonna win.